Okay, everyone, welcome back. This is our monthly marketing meeting. My name is Sean Bailey, editor-in-chief at Horse's Mouth. I'm here with Devin Kropp, associate editor. Devin runs our advisor client turnkey marketing program, among many other things. And so Devin, it's February, and the reason we get together and have this conversation is so that we can kind of set the table for the month in terms of marketing activities for everybody to consider, all advisors, and then from there we kind of narrow down our observations and recommendations to our advisor client and master members. So, but we start out with something that's of interest to everyone who's listening. And our topic for this month is the virtual client appreciation event. And I'm glad to see that on the marketing calendar for this month, because I do think to some degree, certainly for some portion of last year, advisors were somewhat paralyzed about client events because of the pandemic. But then I think by mid-year, everybody started to get their sea legs with Zoom and started to think things through, and also seeing the timeline, the likely timeline for the pandemic, which frankly is probably another 6 months, maybe more. Hopefully 6 months will be more or less done. But it raises the question of what can advisors do in terms of putting on virtual client appreciation events. And so this is not financial education. We talk a lot about putting on webinars, but this is not that. So what are we thinking about here?
Right. So, we started to think about how can we create kind of these fun virtual events that, isn't just another Zoom meeting. Because, you hear people say they're Zoomed out. I don't know how true that is. I think people are still eager to get on if there's a nice, fun, interesting event planned. And so really wanted to brainstorm some unique things that advisors might want to consider when they're thinking about their client appreciation event this year. And maybe you do this in the spring or summer, but I think with the virtual format, it's really important to start thinking about this now. So you can really start planning. And if you need to use an outside company for something, getting all the details on that. So just some interesting things I've seen around. I've seen some advisors do these things. I've also just seen it, in searching for kind of fun virtual things to do. Something I think could be really cool, especially if you have clients who, are missing their traveling to Europe or going to museums. There's a lot of museums that will do private virtual tours on Zoom. So you can contact them and, they'll set it all up for you. Your clients come on, they, walk you through the museum, giving you all the, fun facts and history of the pieces that you're seeing. And that's a great way for your clients to get, a front row look at some of these museums that they can't physically travel to right now. So I thought that was something that's really interesting and a little bit different than, we've seen a lot of virtual wine tastings, which are great and fun, but trying to think of things that are a little bit more outside the box and kind of fill some of those pain points that your clients might be experiencing because they can't go out and travel like they normally would. So I thought that was a really fun idea that I think a lot of clients would appreciate and think was different than just getting on Zoom and, having a social hour or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's great. And the museums are struggling to, respond to this situation, and hats off for them. I think the virtual private tours is a great idea. And so, yeah. Okay. What else?
Another thing that I think people are missing right now, live music in another area where, people in that industry are struggling. There's a lot of musicians or, jazz trios that will do a kind of a virtual private concert for clients. So I thought that could be really fun to get someone on, play some music. You can even, send everyone a bottle of wine to enjoy during it, make it a little bit more intimate like that. Again, you're helping local economy, musicians, have work to do during this time, but people are definitely missing that live music aspect, and this could again be a really interesting and different event that I think they would be excited to sign up for and attend and see you there.
Yeah, I saw on New Year's Eve or the day before New Year's Eve, I can't remember which was it. I think it was New Year's Eve. Patti Smith, who has done for decades her own birthday party on New Year's Eve, and many people see it. I've seen it in New York City over the years, down in the East Village, but this year it was done virtually and recorded live, and they put a lot of thought into it. And I think we paid like $10 for the stream, and the camera work. They clearly had thought it out, quite well. And I mean, it was a great experience, and for $10, I mean, like, wow. So, and it was, I can't remember the name of the platform it was done on, but it's one that was, specifically for artists to put on their concerts. So yeah, I think that, live music event, could be great. Absolutely. A lot of jazz trios and stuff,
Yeah.
just local communities like that. They're dying to get out and play. So yeah, that's a good one.
The last thing I had is I know, typically a lot of client appreciation events are, getting out and golfing with your clients. So I thought, if you can find a golf instructor or a golf pro, maybe come on Zoom, do some, tips or instruction for your clients. That could be a fun way of, getting everyone excited again to get out there and be golfing together. Again, something just a little bit different than just getting on Zoom and, doing some trivia or something like that. Having some speaker who can talk to your clients on a topic that is really important to them. You know your clients best. So if there's some hobby that a lot of them have, trying to find a professional in that space that might be able to give, a fun or interactive presentation that they're going to find really valuable and really cool to be a part of.
Yeah, you could think about things like boating, fishing, gardening. Our local, gardening is the number one hobby in America. A lot of people are often shocked to learn that. But it's relatively low cost and easy, and gets people outside. And literally, millions and millions of people in this country do gardening. Um, our local garden club has now been meeting on Zoom recently. But so yeah, that's another topic, gardening. Uh, Back at Christmas time, we were talking about some game nights and some, I mean, we're looking for some things that people haven't done so far. And I know that some people have done that, but let's just put that out there as well. There are other fun things that you could do, beyond the wine tasting, or
Mhm.
coupled with things like the wine tasting. Um, yeah, I'm actually interested in seeing someone organize some sort of event that has this, which we've discussed a little bit here in the past about I don't want to say forced mingling, but if 25 people come into your Zoom party, whatever the topic or the theme is, but that there's some portion where everybody's just going to kind of network or mingle, and you do it through breakout groups, and you put people
Mhm.
in groups of 4 or 5 for 10 minutes at a time or something. Yeah, it could be fun. I think while we're in this situation, it's everybody's very forgiving, I think, at this point in time relating to tech problems and other issues. So be creative, for sure. And I do also think the travel thing is huge. People are really thinking about traveling again, and you know, getting your clients to come to a session where you're going to be thinking about, you know, planning your post-pandemic travel. Bring a couple photos of your favorite trip, and maybe you'll have some sort of travel agent type person talk or something like that for a little bit. But then maybe everybody could, you throw it around the horn, and everybody gets 5 minutes to, you know, um, share some photos from their favorite trip and talk about why they like that. I know that people are like, whoa, wow, okay, I never have been to Naples, and I really would like to go to Naples. That's really cool. And someone else could talk about, the Great Wall of China and how they went there. And that's, it's been on my bucket list for a long time. Could be a lot of fun, I think, possibly.
Yeah, I love that idea.
But planning ahead is what it's all about. And at this point, we're in the month of February, so people really on the team in terms of thinking about these client events, you're really kind of like looking ahead to, what comes up in the spring.
Mhm.
So something like gardening, spring gardening, that can be a great topic. If we were doing this 2 months ago, we might be talking about, how could you do a virtual Super Bowl party or pregame party, you know. Um, anyway, all right. So that's good. But get this stuff on your calendar. I think that if you've been delaying doing client events because of the situation we're all in, I think it might be worth your while to change that posture and like say, okay, let's go ahead and let's just do it. Let's embrace this. And again, the wine tastings are an easy thing to do as well. So I know Debbie Taylor does her what she calls a Galentine Day, I think it's on the day before Valentine's, or maybe it's a lunch
Hmm.
on Valentine's Day, but it's strictly for women and she has them over and they cook and stuff like that. I think she's doing something virtual on that as well. So there's a lot of things you can
Yeah,
do.
there's a lot of virtual like cooking sessions you can sign up for where a chef will come on and lead people through things so you can, put together an order of groceries for people, things they might need. And that could be another really, I think, fun and interesting idea.
Definitely. Definitely. Um, okay. So moving on, then we'll talk for a minute about what's happening in Horse's Mouth advisor client area. What do we have teed up for them this month, Devin?
I think probably the most important piece we have teed up for, this month and next would be the financial fitness checkup. This is a campaign that is really designed for you to give to clients and prospects a checklist that leads them through, over 50 yes or no questions, but it gives them and you a really great overall picture of their financial health going into the year. So it reveals, different opportunities in their lives this year that they might need your planning expertise on. Also reminds them again of, everything that you can help them with because the toolkit goes through, goals, investments, your health, retirement, family. It touches on all these different aspects, makes them really sit down and consider what might be different this year or how their goals may have changed this year, and also gives you the opportunity to then meet with them, make sure that you're discussing the things that are really important to them going into 2021, and how that might look for them.
Yeah, good. I think that financial fitness one is particularly good. And for people in that program, you're recommending well, what else are you recommending this month about the action webinars? That's something new. What is an action
Right.
webinar?
So we have started to create these, what we're calling action webinars in Advisor Client for Advisor Client and Master members, where we take some of our most popular handouts that we've used and created over the years for you to be able to communicate with clients, and have turned them into these really kind of short, almost lunch and learn like presentations that you can invite your clients to. The goal is to really just give them an overview of that handout, things you might be mentioning on it, and give them the opportunity to fill it out with you on that call with some other clients. So we've had advisors try this out. They get 15 to 20 of their clients on, just, kind of talk about the handout more in depth, touching on different topics of it. But the goal, again, is for clients to take action. And so in the past, maybe you sent out this checklist and only, a few clients sent it back to you. This would really be time for them to sit down with you on the webinar and everyone kind of goes through and answers the checklist. And that hopefully will spur them to say, the time to do this. I do have questions on these items. Let me schedule some time to talk to you about that, or even spur a referral or something like that. So they're short, again, maybe 20 to 30 minutes, really designed for you to just be touching base with your clients on these things, reminding them that you're sending this stuff out, and making them take an action that's not only going to benefit them, but also your relationship with them.
Right. Good. So, yeah, and being able to be seen, doing these things for your clients. I mean, the point about the people on Horse's Mouth Advisor Client Program and master members who have Advisor Client, you're getting a full-blown marketing plan that has 5 or 6 items per month to choose from. You're not supposed to do all 5 or 6. Well, you could, but you definitely want to do a few of them. But and one of them is just sort of like keeping a flow of emails going out to the client. Sometimes it's a newsletter, but sometimes it's just sending them an article reprint or a particular handout to kind of stay on their radar. And it's kind of like it's a drip campaign, and in a way. And what can you talk a little bit about some examples of how just being there and doing the marketing activity, communicating with your clients, and the kinds of things that it leads to? We see all the time. Good things.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have seen Sean and I, and then Doug Pierce and Chris Holman have been doing this webinar coaching group with a group of about 35 advisors, and really leading them through, how to start doing webinars and really build your business around them. But in addition, some of the advisors in that group have really also kind of leapt into this drip marketing campaign that Sean's talking about, making sure that you're sending out something monthly and just doing that action of sending out a handout for 1 month, we saw a couple of advisors in the group really have great success from it. One sent out the key financial data piece. We spoke about that during our last monthly marketing meeting, but it's this two-sided handout that has all of the key numbers for 2021. So tax brackets, the standard deduction, tax deadlines, Medicare, everything that you need to know for the year. He sent it out to his clients. Immediately, he had a client schedule a call with him and said, I'm really glad you sent this out because, first of all, it reminded me that I have this other money that I want to move over to you. But it also reminded me that I have a friend that I really think could benefit from talking to you, and I want to give you their information. And so this advisor then met with the friend. He moved over, he became a client, $1 million, brought it over. And then when he was having the conversation with the friend's girlfriend overheard and also requested a meeting with the advisor, eventually became a client too. And it was another $1 million account. And this was all from sending this one piece out via email, really committing to this drip marketing campaign. And he's already seen over $2 million come in from it. So there are stories like this we hear all the time. But the key, like Sean was saying, is taking the actions and really doing it, setting this up in your CRM, having it go out every month and committing to, being a financial educator in that way too, not just putting on the webinars, but always having communication touches, reinforcing that going out to your list.
Yeah, and the drip marketing thing, by the way, Devin, that is something we should bring up in the webinar coaching group relating to the story about Mike Pierschow that I like to tell, because Mike puts on a dinner seminar on retirement at a Ruth Chris Steakhouse. He's been doing this for years, built a monstrous business doing it. And guess what? He continued to do it through the pandemic as well. And not because he was going to Ruth Chris, but he was just offering people the Ruth Chris gift certificate to come to his event online. And then people would get the gift certificate afterwards. Over the years, though, back to when things were in real life, Mike would, at the end of his dinner seminar, invite people in for something that he calls a financial fitness checkup. And people who attend the seminar take him up on it, but some don't. That's like the way it goes, right? And so for the ones who wouldn't take him up on that, he'd have his staff drip the attendees to the event with horse's mouth articles about, taxes, IRA, Social Security. And after 2 or 3 months of sending one article per month, then the somebody in his on his staff will get on the phone and start to call those people who came to their dinner event but didn't come in for the financial fitness checkup appointment. They'll call and say, hey, this is Jeannie from Mike Pierschow's office. Mike just asked me to call and check in with you to see that you're getting the follow-up articles we sent on retirement. And we just want to know if you have any questions and make sure that you're getting them. And by doing that, sometimes they leave it a voicemail, sometimes they connect with the prospect. But that was generating, I believe, 2 to 4 new clients per quarter. So he was getting, when you do the numbers there, I was getting people who just weren't ready to act at the end of the seminar for whatever reason. And we all know sometimes people have built up resistance. They know they've come to this Ruth Chris event. They liked everything they heard. Now they're bridging to the one-on-one meeting. And some people are just going to put up a wall for that sort of thing. But then you drip on them and then you follow up with the phone calls in a sincere way. Ask, hey, you want to make sure you're getting the articles, anything you want to chat about. And then people's defense, people become disarmed at some point and say, okay, you're right. I'm going to come in and have a conversation. And then some of those conversations lead to additional business. So, that's a key aspect of the advisor client marketing program is you have access to all these tools and article reprints, and everything's been reviewed by FINRA. And so having an effective drip campaign is something that everybody should be doing, particularly now in the webinar era, Devin. So that's why we want to go back and look at our agenda for upcoming sessions we're having with our webinar coaching group and see that we're going to give a little space to the whole idea of dripping on the people who come to the webinars. Of course, the group just started last month and they're all getting ready. Some have done, and many are just getting ready to do their first webinar. So the follow-up stuff will be important later in the month. But anyway, okay, Devin, anything else we want to say about advisor client for this month?
Just, like Sean said, there's the calendar available, so members can always go back and check that out. But I think, if there's anything you're going to send out, I would definitely say the financial financial fitness checklist is great. We have the client action webinar ready for that. And we also, if you haven't sent out key data yet, it's not too late to do that. It's still super relevant. People will appreciate that. And we also have a client action webinar for that too. So if you want to go a little bit further and, talk to your clients about what all those numbers really mean, instead of just sending the card out, that could be a great kind of educational event, lunch and learn like thing.
Yeah, the lunch and learns, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because that is another thing that we're seeing. I think people are doing it. There's still plenty of people working from home. And even if they're not working from home, it's all virtual now. So people can, BYOL, and you can educate them and while they eat their lunch. And listen, business happens that way. It's just the way it is. By the way, I just got an email the other day from somebody who's with a company. I don't even think he knows what we do per se, but their company is specializing in, shipping lunches to people so you can put on lunch and learns in essence. So I guess anybody could really, even in a multi-state area, you can use like Uber Eats and stuff like that and figure out, as long as I know what zip code you're in, I could figure, or people could order this stuff in advance. There must be ways to do that
Totally.
sort
It
of thing.
reminds me of the What's Working Now we ran on the site this week with Matt Donahue, who's using Grubhub he partnered with a local restaurant. They figure out a way to bring in Grubhub so people who are attending the webinar can order from a select menu, and then Grubhub will go ahead and deliver the food for them, and his firm is kind of eating the cost of the Grubhub fee for the restaurant. So, everyone's kind of winning there. But there are definitely ways where if you still want to provide, a meal for people who are attending your event, there are some really creative ways that you can do that. Even like you were saying, if you have clients in different geographical areas, I'm sure that, with some research, you can figure out a restaurant in the area that can, bring them a nice meal for your event or something like that. I think that's a really nice touch. And I think people are starting to do a little bit more of that now that this has really become the new normal right now.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to see if I can send you a salad or something. I don't know.
I'm really missing my sweet green that was down the street from our offices. So
I'm missing all my favorite food places in Manhattan. Says the guy who just heated up as, fried rice from Costco, this sort of instant fried rice bowl. It's actually pretty good, but I did have to throw a fried egg on top of it. Make it even better. Anyway, okay, so is that it for the month?
That's it.
All right. Doug Pierce, are we good to go?
Yes. Yeah. No questions. No questions.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next month. The key thing is be sure to get out there and do the marketing. You just got to, make things happen, push stuff out the door. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to get it out there. You want to be making those contacts because it is a sort of metaphysical thing of you put energy out to your clients, and then by giving them information in relevant context, and then stuff comes back. Clients, referrals, whatever the case may be. So keep up your marketing, and we'll see you next